You ever notice how people keep talking about prompts like they're magic spells?
Yes. Like if they just find the right sentence, everything will suddenly unlock.
I mean, to be fair, early on it does feel like that. You try something, it works, and you think you've figured it out.
Right. That early confidence. But then after more time you start realizing there's a lot more going on under the surface.
Exactly. And the people who stick with it start working differently. They're not chasing perfect prompts anymore.
They're interacting with it, steering it, exploring what it can do.
How you work with AI matters.
Get output leverage instead of perfect prompts.
Many people assume better results from AI come from better wording.
But experienced users increasingly discover that interaction quality matters far more than phrasing precision.
In fact, what separates beginners from advanced users often isn't knowledge, it's how they work with the system.
And there's something interesting psychologically. Early success can actually make people think they've mastered it.
Yeah. The illusion of competence. You feel fluent before you really understand what's possible.
Then at some point you cross a threshold. You start seeing patterns, capabilities, things you didn't notice before.
This shift changes everything, because once you understand interaction, you can create far more than you expected.
And that's where output leverage begins.
You're not just using a tool anymore. You're shaping what it produces.
Which is why some people suddenly accelerate, while others stay stuck at the surface.
And it's not intelligence. It's not background. It's interaction behavior.
Once you realize that, the whole learning curve starts to look different.
So the question becomes, what does effective interaction actually look like?
And how can anyone learn to reach that level of leverage?
You know, one thing that surprised me when I started spending more time with AI was how different it felt after a while.
Different how?
At first it felt like I was just asking questions and getting answers. But later, it started feeling more like a collaboration.
That's a good word for it. Collaboration? Because you're not just issuing instructions anymore, you're shaping outcomes.
And that shift is subtle. People don't notice it at first. They think the tool changed. But really their interaction changed.
This is what many experts describe as moving from prompting to interaction.
Instead of searching for perfect wording, you begin exploring what the system can do.
It's almost like probing a surface. You try something. See what happens. Adjust. And go deeper.
And the more you do that, the more capability you uncover. Things that were there the whole time. You just didn't know it.
This is sometimes called discovering latent capability, abilities that exist inside the system but aren't immediately visible.
Which explains why two people using the same AI can have completely different results.
And that's where leverage starts to appear. Small adjustments. Much larger output changes.
It can feel surprising, honestly. Like the system suddenly got smarter overnight.
But what actually changed was the user.
Their mental model shifted. They stopped treating it like a search engine and started treating it like a partner.
This transition is often the beginning of real productivity gains.
Because once you understand how to work with the system, you can produce more, faster, and with better quality.
And that experience can feel energizing.
Like momentum building. You start seeing possibilities everywhere.
And suddenly the tool isn't limiting you anymore, it's expanding what you can do.
Which raises an important question. What exactly are those people doing differently?
What behaviors create that level of output leverage?
So when people start getting better results, what are they actually doing differently?
One of the biggest shifts is they stop trying to get everything right in one attempt.
Yeah. They treat it like a process. Try something. Look at the output. Adjust. Try again.
Which sounds simple. But psychologically, it's a big shift. You're no longer searching for perfection. You're exploring possibility.
This approach is often described as an iterative interaction loop.
You generate something, evaluate it, refine the direction, and keep building.
And the interesting part is, the system responds to that behavior. It starts giving you more useful output when you work this way.
Because you're providing context, direction, feedback. You're shaping the trajectory instead of hoping for a perfect answer.
This is where users begin moving from tool operators to system designers.
Instead of asking for outcomes, they're guiding how outcomes emerge.
And once that mindset clicks, people often notice a sudden increase in productivity.
Because they're no longer stuck trying to say things perfectly. They're moving forward continuously.
Momentum instead of hesitation.
Exactly. And momentum is where leverage really compounds.
Small improvements, repeated over time, create dramatically larger results.
Which is why some people appear to accelerate suddenly. But the acceleration was building the whole time.
And when that happens, people often describe a feeling of excitement.
Like they suddenly realize what they're capable of producing.
And that realization can change how you approach work entirely.
Because now you're thinking in terms of possibilities, not limitations.
And that leads directly to one of the most powerful experiences people report when working with AI.
The moment it starts to feel truly enabling.
You know, when people reach that point, they often describe it almost the same way.
Yeah. They say it feels like a rush. Like suddenly things are moving faster than they expected.
Because they're producing more ideas, drafts, designs, solutions. And it's happening with less friction.
And importantly, they're not working harder. They're working differently.
This is the effect of output leverage, where interaction amplifies what a person can produce.
The same individual, with the same intelligence, suddenly operating at a higher level.
And that realization can be emotional, exciting, even a little surprising.
Because people start seeing possibilities they didn't think were available to them before.
Which is why some users suddenly accelerate. From the outside it looks dramatic. But internally it's just a shift in interaction.
A shift in mindset. From tool use to collaboration.
And once that shift happens, the question isn't whether AI is useful.
The question becomes, how much more is possible?
And that's where things get really interesting. Because many users discover capabilities they didn't even realize existed.
Hidden abilities. Emergent behaviors. Things that only appear once you start interacting differently.
Which is exactly what we'll explore next.
There's more inside AI than most people realize, and probing for those capabilities is part of the skill.
Because once you understand how to explore the system, entirely new levels of leverage can emerge.
We'll show you how that works.